All right, YouTube, here we are, back at it. So here's an update to the K30 build. This cab has officially been doomed for the car hauler, along with the other one. I got pretty far along with it. Thought I was on a good roll, got it stripped down, and then I tore off all the insulation on the front. And come to find out, the upper firewall was rusted through. Didn't make me happy, didn't sit very well. So I let it sit, and then I start cutting on the blue one to put that piece in. Got it in, welded, wasn't paying attention to my regulator, and I ran out of gas, and then I started getting welding wire on the back side of it. The poor judgment call on myself. So again, I stopped again, and then I'd say about 2 weeks after that, I'm looking on Craigslist, and a buddy of mine, he's been wanting a 454 big block. So we find one inside of Nashville, and the gentleman says it had just come from California, zero rust. The story of my life. Everything is either zero rust or rust free. The rust is free, not rust free, just free. So I decided to go take a look at it. It took a while to get everything to meet up and everything to settle through. You can see here, this is where I cut the other one out because this cab is just completely gone. We finally got the guy to link up, let me come look at it, and took my buddy with me. Somebody's pile of crap driving by. And this is what we got. Guy tells me it's a brand new 454 big block rebuilt, turbo 400 two-wheel drive. And before he knew it, his wife made him put 6 brand new tires on it. He had to fix the AC, and he had to do one of the fuel pumps in it. He's one of those gentlemen where his wife tells him what to do with his toys. He wasn't allowed to keep it, so we get there and it is literally immaculate. Sat a little lower. I didn't pay much of attention to it because I just couldn't get over the fact that it had no rust. And I see that they did their own homemade lowering kit on it. We crawl underneath there while we're underneath it, and we see that it has a gear vendor overdrive in it on the turbo 400. Asked the gentleman, how do you make it work? He says he's never figured it out and didn't know it was there, although it had all the computer system bolted to the dash. So we took it for a test drive. It drove like crap because he hadn't run it. The last time he had drove it was in 2016. We scored it pretty well. So there's what I got from it. The rolling chassis is going to go sit in a graveyard, and the motor and trans are going to go sit in a barn. I'm not going to use this front clip. It is a 1988 and it has the antenna on the fender. It's not something of interest of mine. The truck originally was white with blue, but the story I got was that the gentleman drove it from California to Chattanooga, and he had a race car, and his race car was red and white, so he had it painted red and white. I haven't found any kind of noticeable dents in the bed other than a couple holes because it had an auxiliary tank. And that big block was not good on fuel. I wish I figured out that overdrive. So as we're almost to the house, it starts to rain, and my biggest thing is I don't want the high beam indicator on the floor. I don't like it. It's never been a big fan of mine. So I looked down to hit the high beams because there's the indicator, and it shifted into overdrive. So that's what that was for. It has a dimmer switch on the floor for the gear vendor overdrive. But like I said, all that's been taken care of and it's already going to a different home. Move ahead a few weeks. I had a crane come out because I didn't want to gut the whole interior of this truck because it is perfect. It's a bucket seat. It was a camper special, but it ain't anymore since they decided to cut all the spring crap out. It does have the bucket seats. Everything's tilted back. The only thing I could tell you is the front carpet's sun faded, which you can tell. But I did have to do the four-wheel drive hump out of that gray truck. I wish I had paid better attention, but when we had the crane here, you know, we just lifted it a whole cab off in one assembly with all the doors on it and whatnot, and set it down. And I thought I had it mocked up just right so that it'd sit on there, but well, it didn't. So I cut the hole and put some blocks until I could get it in. But I have the training mount in there, or the training hump in it for four-wheel drive. Got the transfer case hole cut out. So everything lines up just the way it should. I'll move some of the stuff out of the way. But right there, it's set in perfect. And that's just insulation. We pour 15 to everything. You can tell it's underneath all this. And I got all the doors off. I got them hollowed out. I got just a few more pieces of insulation. I got to get the headliner out because it's starting to drop. And I want to get that nice. And the only way to get these headliners out of a crew cab, which for some reason nobody else has posted it anywhere, is it comes out the back window. You could probably take it out the front, but it's definitely easier pulling it out the back. I learned my lesson on that tan truck. There's the front windshield. I got super blessed on that because they decided to glue it in on the frame or on the window molding all the way around it, and then glued the window to the rubber. Doesn't look terrible. That stuff's harder than woodpecker lips. So this is how it's gonna sit in there. That's the way the motor is. It all pushes around just as smooth as can be. I've got clearances to get to the back number 4 cylinder. So if I ever have to do any valve adjustments after I get a few hundred miles on break-in if necessary. I still have to drill the hole for the slave cylinder, but I've got those already drilled out and it's all sprayed. I got all the brake system bolted up, and then I've got the pedals in it, and you could just barely see with the light. And of course the cluster's fighting me because I can't get the speedometer cable undone because my hand is getting cut to shit in there. So I did put a tilt manual trans steering column in it. It's tore apart. It came out of the tan truck. They didn't have a key for the ignition, so it's just sitting there loosely. I've got all the parts in there to put it together. I just really need to get it painted soon. It had one of those Lund window visor things on it, and I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but I wasn't real happy when I undid it because, oh, there they come. That's what it did to the roof. So I'm gonna weld those up after I spray a bunch of the rust killer inside there. There's that Lund sun visor. That thing aggravated me. And then they obviously drilled huge holes in it. So again, I'm gonna spray that rust inhibitor and then fill it all full of pour 15 and let it run down. And then that's the only rust I found on the whole thing besides right here. I feel pretty confident in saying that you could say the truck is rust free. But as I tore that off, the weather stripping for that, both holes on both sides were just completely gummed up with the sealant. He did have it parked underneath a tree for years. I mean, you could tell he must have washed the body off, but so I'll get that out there. We're talking about doing a drastic color change. We'll leave it blue interior, but not sure on a color yet. Me and my daughter keep talking about it. We'll see what we get. But that's an update, guys. I've been hustling with it. Been doing a lot of side work. That guy keeps me plenty busy. So, but yeah, the only other thing I'm gonna do is take these off because I don't think I want them. We'll see how I feel about it when I take them off and it's painted. And then obviously I'm gonna take the fender emblems off, and then there's Sierra, but it don't matter. I'm gonna weld those holes up, and this is the front clip I'm gonna go with. It's absolutely perfect. No dents, no dings, no rust, no surface, because it had that other big block in the gray truck that was in it, and there's nothing. It came with a brand new radiator, a brand new condenser. I'll have to get rid of that evap crap, and that's about it. I mean, even the battery tray looks like it's brand new, even though the jack's there. But I got new fender liners, so that'll be no big deal. They'll get painted the same color as the body of the truck. And then there's the other doors. I mean, I think I've got one dent on one door, and that's right here. Out of the whole truck, it's the only dent, and you can't even, you can obviously see it because there's rust, but it's just a surface rust. But I'll be able to bang it out and get it perfect, and I'll keep you posted. I know I haven't done many, but I'll definitely keep you updated. It won't be long. I've got a set of DIY 4x4 shackle stuff coming for the front, and for the rear I got to go pick it up. So I'm going to do that and do 52-inch springs in the front, just because I don't think I want it as big as the blue truck. I want 35s to look okay on it, maybe a 36 or a 37 at the most, even though the blue truck's on 37s. I don't want to get terribly high. I got the other tank. It's out there. It's all painted. I did pour 15 all over it, painted it, and it's all cleaned out. I get these other hoses. I just got the hoses the other day. I got to get rid of the vent hose, so I don't need it. And moving along. I'm pretty happy with it. All right, guys. That's it. That's the update. That'll be the K30. Hopefully next week I'll have it either painted or almost completely primed for paint. So, all right, I'll keep you updated.